because I'm about to put together a little educated documentary that I seen about hidden knowledge that they normally don't teach us in school about our history. I hope that y'all enjoy this. Once again, this is God in them streets, giving you the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding, and the guidance to help elevate your mind and bring you back to the true knowledge of self. Peace. Peace, y'all. This is God in them streets. And once again, I'm mixing it up with education, hip-hop music, gangsterism, whatever I got to do to make sure that I inform the youth with this knowledge that we don't know. This is going to be very interesting because when I came across this particular piece, it's dealing with us as original people going into Mexico and other places that we wouldn't think is directly associated with us coming from Africa. And this is how we realized the separation when the Spaniards came in, because those are the only ones that are Latin, you know what I'm saying, with background being that of Caucasian. So I hope that this is fulfilling. This is why I'm going to be mixing it in with Troy Ave's record called Real Lies, Real Lies. Peace.
That you were never taught in school, but helped in shaping global history in very significant ways, from discovering and leading a band of free slaves to forming a new settlement in a new land, to the tale of a woman demanding that her right be respected in a time when women were not regarded with any significance. What you'll learn shortly will blow your mind. Let's get right into it. Gaspar Yanga. Gaspar Yanga is popular as the...
Okay, y'all, you're going to learn about Gaspar Yanga. He was very significant in Mexico and their history also.
Gaspar, often called Yanga, or Yanga, was born on May 14, 1545. He is said to be one of the Brand people from the royal lineage of Gabon, located in today's West Africa, where he was born and raised before he was captured and sold into slavery in Mexico, and given the name Gaspar Yanga after his capture. Yanga was an enslaved worker in the sugarcane plantations of Veracruz, Mexico. While working under terrible conditions, in 1570, Yanga was able to convince some group of people, and with his group of new followers, revolted against their captors and were able to escape. They fled through the mountainous regions near Cordova and established a settlement of former slaves called the Palanque. Yanga was able to bring the free slaves to a new settlement and established a community where they were able to live freely without any interference or disturbance from the Spanish.
You see, they were sovereign beings back then. Don't let them always make you think that all we settled for was being slaves. Of course, we had rebellions, those that opposed being in physical oppression and slavery.
Clear record of how this movement developed. By 1609, this community of former slaves included more than 500 men, and consequently, there were rumors that Yanga and his men were planning a large-scale revolt against the Spanish authorities. Yanga also had a band called the Cimarrones. While this group helped to ensure order and calm in the community, Yanga and his band were perceived as being a threat to the colonial system of slavery, as they acted in a daring manner and opposed activities of the royal commerce and authority.
Anytime that the black man, woman, and child want any degree of freedom, then we must be classified as savages or uncontrollable beings. So, always utilize your mind, because as long as you utilize your mind, you'll be free.
Of crimes. After some period, the band was implicated in the disruption and looting of trade goods. Yanga's Maroon not only plundered the haciendas and farms in order to survive, they also attacked the Viceroyalty-era Mexico-Veracruz Road. This was along the Camino Road, also known as the Royal Road, which lies between Veracruz and Mexico City. It was an important road that connected the Gulf's main port with the capital of New Spain. The band was also held responsible for attacking nearby haciendas and kidnapping indigenous women. The continuous attacks became a source of trouble for the authorities. Throughout the colonial period, the roads where these attacks were prominent was the most used transit and communication route in the Americas, and its economic importance was essential for the development of Spain. The attacks got the viceroy upset, and he sent some militias to subdue Yanga and his group. Their community was eventually attacked, and they tried to destroy Yanga and his group. They assumed that destroying the community and its leader would serve as a deterrent to other would-be rebellious slaves, that the Spanish authority over them was absolute. However,
you see, they wanted to destroy them because they found out the science that if you take from them with their trading, remember they had the 3 M's, the missionaries, the merchants, and then they bought the military. So during that time, this man was wise enough to attack the royal road and kept robbing them of what they needed. But then they sent militias on them.
Africans intended to kill the inhabitants of the capital and crown Yanga as king. This really got the viceroy upset, and he quickly instructed the Spanish authorities to send a well-armed militia to defeat Yanga and his palanque. The troop of about 550 were led by Pedro Gonzalez de Herrera, and they marched out from Puebla. About 100 soldiers in the troops were regulars, while the rest were conscripts and adventurers. The Maroons, on the other hand, were an irregular force with 100 fighters holding firearms and the other 400 armed with already old. So the troop Toza and Angolan, Yanga was able to use his troops' superior knowledge of the terrain to resist the Spaniards. His goal was to cause the Spanish enough pain and draw them in for a negotiation. This strategy worked. As soon as the Spanish team approached, Yanga sent out his terms for peace via a captured Spaniard. He made a deal which was similar to that made between the Indians and Spaniards, which ended their hostility. The Indians requested for self-rule and agreed to support the Spaniards if they were never attacked. But the Spanish authorities were not ready to give up just yet. They sent another group to Yanga and his palanque, and they were faced with another strong defense from Yanga and his men. This time, both parties suffered severe casualties. After several other defeats, Yanga offered to make peace, but this time gave the Spaniards 11 conditions, some of the most important conditions in his term.
You see, they always speak with forked tongue. Yanga had 11 conditions that they had to meet. Remember, they said that they wasn't going to fight with them no longer as long as they just allowed them to have their freedom. But then they reneged and sent back another militia, and they both had great casualties. But then Yanga came up with the 11 rules that he wanted them to follow.
The town of San Lorenzo de los Negros de Cerralvo was established. The town is located in today's Veracruz province. 1818. The treaty was signed, and the town of San Lorenzo de los Negros was officially recognized by Spanish authorities as a free black settlement. By 1630, the town of San Lorenzo de los Negros de Cerralvo was established. The town is located in today's Veracruz province and is now known as Yanga. In 1871, about 50 years after Mexico gained their independence, Yanga was designated as a national hero of Mexico and also named the El Primer Libertador de las Americas. Much of the story
original man,
and
a statue in Mexico
by Vicente Riva Palacio. He characterized the Maroons of San Lorenzo de los Negros as proud men who would not be defeated.